I gave my everything to this. Not some of myself, not, when it was convenient. I gave everything. While other people were out living their lives, building memories, finding happiness, I was here in front of a screen, making track after track after track, believing, someday, maybe someday, it would finally mean something. Music literally became my entire identity. Not really because I wanted it at first, just over time it was all I had left. When friendships fell apart, I still had music. I remember 2023, all my friends left me, and I was harassed offline and to the point where I had to start taking hard drugs just to cope with life. And then 2025, most of those people came back into my life, and I stupidly allowed them to because, I have that whole people are not disposable mentality. Even though I should have told most of them to fuck off. When life was hard and, I was isolated, ignored, replaceable, I at least had something to do. I had something to keep my mind off of all of it. And that's kind of a cruel part of it all, because even after everything in this industry and these communities and this lifestyle that, were taken from me, I just kept coming back to it. And it's not like music was making me happy anymore. It drains me now. But it's the only thing that I have where I have any perceived value or any kind of purpose in life. It is nowhere sustainable. I barely eat. I have dinner once every 2-3 days, if I'm fucking lucky. Thank God that water doesn't cost too much, or I might not even have water. And some people think that I'm this delusional guy. I know that I was never succeeding. I know I was never meant to succeed in music. I was never meant to succeed in commentary. I was never meant to succeed in life. I don't know who I would have been if it wasn't for music at this point. It was the only thing really keeping me going, even though I hated it. Because music stopped being a passion years ago, and it kind of became more survival. I shouldn't say survival, it became routine. It became the one thing keeping me, moving forward when everything else around me was just starting to feel empty. But I'm sitting here right now and I'm realizing, if I walk away from music, what's actually left for me? Nothing. So I'm in a catch-22, but it's just to that point. I can't keep up forever. I only have so much energy, so much time. And I can't just waste it all. Because when you spend years sacrificing your health, your time, your relationships, your happiness, your future even, all for one thing, it just becomes your entire world. And that's why there's a little bit of pain to this. Just a little. And it's not because I'm, losing music, it's because I'm trying to find who I am again. I'm gonna have to look in the mirror and say, okay, who are you? What are your morals, your ideals? What do you like to do? I'm gonna have to find ways to discipline myself even further than I ever have before. And it's that transitional process is going to be very unpleasant, to say the least. I've gone back and forth for a few months on if I should even say anything at all, or if I should just shut up and continue life as usual, just keeping everybody's little bitch boy. Maybe if I should just quietly disappear or delete everything and move on without explanation. But I think with everything that's happened, especially with, the whole pup situation, I think I just want to say why I'm leaving YouTube and why I'm stepping away from music, and I'm genuinely, for once in my life, choosing myself. Because despite what people think, I have a very brash personality. I'm very assertive, I'm very out there. This was not just a quick impulsive decision. This wasn't a bad day. This has been building since 2023, and at this point I'm just fucking exhausted. I've spent my entire adult life making music. Thousands of hours with late nights, early mornings, watching videos constantly on production, mixing, mastering, sound design, buying VSTs, which I could use that money to go to college. I could have gone to college with that money instead of being on the verge of homelessness. But I was just constantly trying to improve, trying to create something meaningful, something that we could just all enjoy together, use in our videos, in our games, in our projects. But that's not what happened. And after all this time, I've made almost 3,500 tracks in less than 10 years. More than any Canadian in history in less than a 10-year span. But what do realistically, what do I have to fucking show for it? And not much. I've worked on 57 indie games. And after all that work, all the projects, literal sleepless nights, I made about $3 total. Actually less because PayPal took their cut. And I wish I was exaggerating on that. And maybe I should have charged more or marketed better, or maybe I should have done things differently. Fair, but I see that point. I spent so many years chasing this idea that if I just worked harder, eventually it would pay off. Eventually people would care. Eventually things would stabilize. Eventually I might even be able to survive off music and a part-time job in our modern day economy. Eventually all the sacrifices, they would just mean something. They'd have purpose. All that fucking suffering I put myself through, it would have a payoff at the end of it, but they didn't. There was no payoff. And what kind of hurts a little bit is in the beginning, I genuinely loved making music. It was the only thing I had in my life after having to give up karate, boxing, wrestling, both professional and amateur, sparring, and giving away literally everything I owned to people I know in my life just to keep relationships, because that's just who I am, to top it all off. There were moments where in the beginning it felt magical. And even recently, there are some tracks that I actually kind of liked, even if they weren't good. But over time, things, they just change. Music stopped being something that I loved and started becoming something that consumed my life. I stopped living and I was just kind of surviving. I can make music for this guy who wants this and wants me to use XVST, which is $80, or I can maybe eat this week. Well, I have nothing in my life, and I hate myself and want to fucking slit my own throat, so let's buy the VST and make the music for the guy. And I would just sit in front of a screen, render, mix, fix projects, help people, do revisions, and upload tracks that nobody fucking listens to. Most of my music gets 1 to 5 plays. Whoop-de-fucking-do. And I was just trying over and over again to make something that just never happened. And now I'm sitting here realizing I literally traded about 9 to 10 years of my life for literally fucking nothing. I could have been out in the woods enjoying nature. I could have been working on my body and working out. I could have been experiencing actual proper life, hanging out with my friends, my family, even my co-workers. Love being in and out of jobs, by the way. It's fucking perfect. Never having any money. No, instead I decided to spend years trapped in an endless fucking cycle of creating content and music, hoping that it would eventually become sustainable. And you know what? Again, it never did. As I said before, there were days I couldn't even afford food properly, where every third day was dinner with no other food in between. That was a fun time, and fuck, that still is a fun time. Days where I was genuinely struggling financially while still trying to help everybody around me, giving money to people online like Musa, Zomblush, Dara the Star, Valen, Brad, Endo, ChillJ, Septipause, Carmen Rider, Vabchan. Do I need to continue that fucking list? I think I listed 10 people, so I'm going to quit there. You know what? No, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Kumo-san, Hal. Who else? What was her name? Peachy Lee. Like, it gets insane. But one thing that really changed how I viewed a lot of people in my life was realizing how few people were actually willing to help me when I was falling apart. When I was on the verge of homelessness for a third time. Almost nobody cared enough to help. Almost nobody was willing to part with even $5. I say almost nobody because one person was, and that was Dreamer72. Big props to you. You know, after everything I'd done for people, all the free music, giving 10,000 to ACC members, 15,000 to friends online, probably closer to 5,000 for real life friends, 20,000 to victims of grooming, and 40,000 on VST to improve my music for people's games and projects. After all the fucking emotional support that I've given people, helping with the games, projects, and videos, helping to expose predators, being dragged into drama constantly, after acting like a therapist to people for fucking years, shout out to Hopeless Peaches. After doing everybody's dirty work over and over because they either couldn't do it or handle it themselves. Sorry, couldn't or wouldn't handle it themselves, I guess I should say. And almost every time I ever needed help, nobody was there, nobody was willing to. And I'm kind of always going to remember that whether I want to or not. I don't bring it up, you know, fucking ever, because I'm not the kind of guy to hold grudges. But it doesn't mean it didn't fucking happen. And it's moments like these that just kind of show me who actually values me as a person and who only values what I can do for them. And at this point, I'm so fucking tired of being useful. It just lets people use myself constantly for their own gain while I keep falling backwards. And you know, I know this sounds harsh. It sounds mean, rude. You know, like I'm taking pot shots at people, but it's fucking true. I'm tired of people feeling like they can only come to me when they need something. Need music. Need editing. Need technical help. Need emotional support. Need to confront somebody. Need to expose somebody. Need to make an FBI report on a pedophile because I'm too fucking scared to do it. You know, need somebody to clean a mess that they got themselves into. It's endless. And the drama, the constant non-stop fucking drama. When you try to leave it behind, it just follows you. Like, I've slowly been getting dragged back into ACC spheres again. And I can feel the cycle repeating with the stress, toxicity, manipulation, the fucking constant chaos. And I don't want that life anymore. I genuinely don't. Back on topic, though, because we've had the little ACC rant. I think one of the hardest things for me to admit is that I'm not even happy with my music anymore. You know, people probably assumed I was confident with how much I made and, you know, how often I shared it. But, sorry, I'm sick. I don't care to edit this. Most of the time, what I hear are my flaws. I hear mixes I could have done cleaner. I hear melodies I wish I had have done differently. Drums that sound out of place. Woodwinds that are too high pitched. Strings that don't follow the melody correctly. And, you know, stuff like that. For years I was, you know, starting to chase perfection. For the last, 3-4 years I was trying to really get my music a lot better than it used to be. And I just never reached that. If anything, it's slowly been getting worse since 2023 music-wise, and unironically, 2021 was probably my best year for releases in my eyes. Casino Hop was not the best genre, will never be the best genre, but it was unique to myself. It was something I created that nobody else had done before. And I gave it up to make music that others requested daily, spending days awake just grinding away, doing literally nothing else with my time for weeks or months on end. Very rarely even a thank you. Look on my Bandcamp. Most game projects don't even have names because the developers couldn't be fucked enough to even give myself the name of the game. And they expect proper soundtracks to it. Most of the time when I finish, they either ghost me for life or block me right after, which is just the cherry on the fucking top of it all. Especially since they usually demand the soundtracks be free even before I offer them to be free. Just, putting that out there. And if you do rev share, as a musician, you get 1 to 8%. Just a heads up. You get the lowest portion of anybody in that pie. So at some point, creating stopped feeling rewarding, and it started feeling obligatory. And we'll use that word, obligatory. I can't even afford Advil or Tylenol or cough syrup or anything. So I just have to tough it out like usual. And even though it literally hurts to breathe right now because it's just been progressively getting worse. But back on it feeling obligatory, I felt if I stopped creating, then everything I sacrificed would literally be for nothing. So I just kept going and going and going and digging myself deeper into this hole where I just work harder and harder and harder and get less and less and less in return, even when it was destroying me, mentally. And when I quit making music, am I gonna miss the process, or am I just gonna miss the identity? That's a question I ask myself, and the identity will always be there. I'm always gonna be the guy who made 3,500 tracks in under 10 years' time. I'm always going to be that guy until the day I die. So unless I miss the process, this might be it. Because, I don't even know or remember who I am outside of creating shit and helping others. And that's probably not happy. Or not healthy. Don't know why I said happy. Because no hobby, passion, or career should just completely consume your identity to the point where you stop living your own life. And I think that's literally exactly what happened. No, that is exactly what happened to me, actually. So that's why I'm making this choice. I'm choosing to live for myself now. Not for algorithms, audiences, drama, online validation. Not for endless fucking projects that go nowhere, such as Pups and Huskies games they claim to work on but never do. Oh yeah, we've been working on it since 2017 and we don't even have a playable demo, but if you can make a new run for the soundtrack, fuck you. You're literally wasting my goddamn time. You've been wasting my time for years. People only show up to me when they need something. I want to go outside more. I want to spend more time in nature. I want real fucking memories, real experiences, real relationships, not this online bullshit. I want to enjoy my life before it's fucking gone. I want to enjoy my time. Time is the one thing that you never get back. I've already given too much of mine away. Now, I'm not going to say nobody supported me. Some, a very select few, but some genuinely did care, and I will always appreciate that. But at the same time, I need to be honest about how this path has affected me. I am burned out. I am stressed out. Completely, mentally, emotionally, creatively, fucking financially even. I kept waiting for things to get better. I kept believing if I pushed harder, I sacrificed more, endured more stress, eventually things would change. But sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is admit that something isn't working. You know, even if you loved it once, even if you still love it, it doesn't mean it loves you back. So this is me finally letting go. I'm stepping away from YouTube. I'm stepping away from music. I don't know what comes next. But for the first time in a very long time, I actually want to find out. Because it's time for me to move on. I need to start living a life that actually feels like it's my life.